Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to number 20 at the Quarantine Cafe. This is pretty exciting and depressing at the same time, I think. Thanks for sticking with us. Thanks for all your support, your likes, your follows, your kind words, your shares, actually making the recipes yourselves. That is so cool to see, to get messages and nice notes from you guys. Oven's ready. That you guys are either have made stuff or planning on making it, which is just beyond cool. So thank you. So today, we've done some full meals, we've done breakfast, we've done dessert, but I want to show you just a few building blocks. Kind of some things using just stuff that we have in our pantry. I'm going to kind of include the fridge as pantry, just stuff that we regularly have on hand. And we're going to make 3 different sauces, not all for use in the same meal, but just some all-purpose stuff that you could use to where, maybe you don't have all the ingredients to make a complete dish, but you want to make some of something, then here's a good way to do it. So the first thing that we're going to do, we're going to start with the cooked sauce, and then we'll move to the ones that are not cooked. So I've got a pot that I just turned the heat on. For all intents and purposes, we're going to call this a cold pot or a cold pan.
It is not sizzling.
It is not sizzling, and there's a good reason why. So basically, to get started, we're going to make a marinara sauce.
Yay!
Yay! Because pasta and canned tomatoes are a pretty big component of just about every pantry out there now. They're cheap, they're readily accessible, they feed a lot of people.
It tastes better than the jarred stuff.
Right. Well, just having all that stuff on hand, super versatile. So instead of necessarily even having to pay more money for expensive jarred sauces, here's a good way to make your own and to be able to make it kind of customizable. So I've got some sliced garlic. That heated rather quickly. Now it does its job. So sliced garlic and a little bit of crushed red pepper. This is just going to be a very quick marinara. It's not like a pomodoro, which is going to be cooked down for a lot longer and is usually thicker. This is just a good, quick, all-purpose. I'm going to move around the side because that looks very awkward. I'm already awkward enough.
I'll move some lighting.
Porn set lighting moving back.
That's right.
For those of you who have not seen it, Wendy, if you want to show it, this is our one of 3 that we have from my food styling.
There's my office over there.
And magazine days.
My at-home office is the dining room.
That's all right. So, what we were looking to do, I'm going to turn the heat even down further on this. We're looking to just almost infuse this oil with the garlic flavor and some of the heat from the chili. If you had an abundance of basil and wanted to put some in to start, we could layer a flavor that way. We don't have that much of it, so we're not going to do that.
That's right. So we're making marinara sauce from scratch.
Yeah, so
we've already got, what have we got working
even
again?
Right now, this is just garlic and crushed red pepper. If you want to kind of see how the garlic has gotten just browned around the edges, that's a good place to stop.
That smells good.
So I'm going to add these tomatoes in, but it's going to help stop the cooking process.
Whoa! Almost got hit with that.
Uh-oh.
Careful.
So,
action tomato.
Action tomato, that's right.
Why are you squeezing it like that instead of just dumping it in?
I like to kind of break it up. I want some chunks and some kind of, not smooth, but something that's going to kind of help give it a saucy consistency. I mean, the more we can cook this down, and you can achieve that too. Just if you want to kind of get a look at the can here, if my finger is not obscuring it.
The very best.
So what we're using right here, if you have access to them, I know that we're kind of in struggle times right now, and sometimes I even got lucky on these. These were, Publix was carrying the 2 cans, limit of 2 per customer of canned tomatoes, and I needed crushed tomatoes or something that would become crushed tomatoes, and I saw that San Marzanos were available, and I jumped at them. San Marzanos, they are harvested in Campania in Italy, which is kind of the instep or the toe of the boot. The bout, if you're Canadian. And so there's a lot of volcanic soil from, I think it's Vesuvius, or that's out there kind of close to it. So they're low acidity, they're sweeter, they're just a really good quality tomato. So one of
Our favorites.
If you can find them, get them. If not, any kind of you don't even have to use the whole and crush them. You can just buy straight up crushed tomatoes, and that'll work just fine.
Awesome. We've got lots of people watching today. Krista Miller is cheersing us with rosé in Grant Park. We got Morgan, and we got Brad from Marietta. Leanne Grandma Bauer is all the way from Texas.
Sweet.
And Don Gardner is back. Don and Cindy from Ecuador. And our wedding photographer, Erin Hill, is watching.
Mom
She's
and Dad,
new.
Krista, Brad, Morgan, everybody else out there that I've forgotten, thank y'all for watching. So I'm just going to let this kind of simmer, and that's nearly it. I just put some salt and pepper in there. That's it. Until we hit the basil at the very end, but beyond that, that's...
I love the basil at the end.
That's about as much as we're going to go. Let me wipe down. I should have grabbed an actual kitchen towel. But we were at the store, and I just found paper towels. It was as if we just conquered a foreign nation.
That's right.
It was great.
It was a mother load.
That's right. So just kind of let that hang on a low simmer. It'll do its thing. We're not looking for it to become super concentrated, kind of loose and runny. And then you can adjust the texture of it if you like it. If you want it a little more rustic, you can leave it as is. If you want it a little more fine and pureed, say you may have some people that don't like the texture of chunky tomatoes, you can put it in a food processor, in a blender, use an immersion blender, all that good stuff.
Awesome. So sauce number 2.
Sauce number 2. This is one of my favorite kind of all-purpose sauces. This is a salsa verde. Let me show you its final destination will be tonight's dinner of roasted chicken.
I'll say Lee would be very proud of our roast chicken.
Yeah, so I mean, I usually do this. I'll just kind of talk about it while I got it. Do it pretty simply here. So season inside the cavity with salt. I've got some lemon, and I just kind of do pick an herb for whatever's going on the inside. Today it's fresh thyme on top of some carrots and rosemary, salt and pepper. 2 things very important. Number 1, pat the chicken dry all the way because we want crispy skin. And number 2, this is going to seem counterintuitive to a lot of folks. Bring your proteins up to room temperature. This chicken is going to be sitting out for about 2 hours before it hits the oven. That way it will heat evenly and the outside won't be dried out before the inside's ready. So temper your proteins, please.
And what kind of chicken is that?
That is Springer Mountain Farms chicken. This is not to be intentionally bougie, but was that the one that you did on
Instacart? Yeah, we had done a normal one, and they said, would you like, we don't have this one, like the Publix one. Would you like Springer Mountain Farm chicken? I'm like, hell yeah. It's local.
If anybody wants a good laugh, too, I would say I've been on YouTube a lot watching old cooking shows, watching Graham Kerr and Great Chefs, Great Cities from Discovery Channel back in the day, Julia Child, and kind of in following down the Julia Child rabbit hole, found an episode of her on Emerald Live, and he was doing her recipes. One of them was a roast chicken, and she was just talking smack the whole, just very subtle, but really awesome about how things weren't right.
Tell him about the wishbone.
What's that?
Oh, is it the wishbone he had?
Oh, yeah, so he's like, kind of like, well, you want to remove the wishbone? And you're like, all right, it's like, do we need a boning knife or whatever? He's like, well, whatever you want, you're going to do it. So, she was awesome. Anyway, so for salsa verde, most important herb to use in this is fresh parsley.
This is flat leaf Italian?
Yeah, that's the only one we use. I think it has more flavor. It's easier to work with than the curly stuff. So that's pretty much all that I would use. And then it kind of comes down to pick an herb. I've got a scallion that we can add. If you wanted to add mint would be great. I'm trying to save a little bit of our basil for our tomato, but if you wanted to add some basil, that would be good. If you wanted to almost take it in a more chimichurri direction, you could add cilantro or fresh oregano, just something else to kind of give it a little bit of pop. We're going to do half of a clove of garlic. The other half is going to be spoken for our third sauce.
And you're just slicing that up?
Just slicing it up. It's really, this is just to where it will blend a little more evenly in the food processor, and I don't have to beat the herbs to death and worry about bruising them while I'm waiting for the garlic to break down.
What else could you put a salsa verde on? I mean, pretty much anything, right?
Anything. Any type of grill. It's one of the most versatile sauces I make. Grilled or roasted meats, fish, shellfish, poultry, vegetables.
Tacos. What about tacos?
This is probably a little more of a European style. If you want to do this style that I'll make with the tomatillos and stuff, That's the more of the taco style salsa verde. But
we have a question.
yes.
What about frozen steak? I hear you shouldn't defrost, but bring to room temperature.
I mean, you have to get it there anyway. So technically that is a defrosting kind of phase. But yeah, I mean that's the only thing you're really going to have to worry about there is how the thawing process and the ice crystals will, as they kind of start to melt, are they going to destroy the meat fibers in there and give it kind of that mushy taste. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes it doesn't. And then, as always, before you're about to grill it, before you're about to sear it, if you're going to do the cast iron method, pat it dry, because it's going to retain a lot of water. I put one of my favorite pantry ingredients. We're still on the same tin of anchovies that we did from that puttanesca. It's so versatile. We've used them in like 4 things. So they're just going to add a good little brininess and kind of some backbone to this. If you're vegetarian or vegan, you want to leave them out, that's cool too. You can go a little heavier on capers, which I just put in. Also that briny, salty element. And then just a little bit of crushed red pepper.
Because that's what we put in everything almost.
That's what we do. Salt and pepper before I move into more things.
Salsa verde.
And so now we need a little bit of acidity or some sharpness. So I've got a lemon. We definitely need lemon juice, but that zest is free flavor.
Well, it's not free because you have to buy the lemon.
What's that?
It's not free because you have to buy the lemon. But it's good.
All right,
sorry.
Economist, no such thing as a free lunch.
That's right. That's right. We do keep lemons in stock too, as well. So for us, we always have lemons, limes, and garlic are pretty abundant for us.
Yeah, and I finally got smart and bought some extra ones because I don't know about you guys, I've been on a cocktail kick as of late, and I will give Krista Miller full credit. After we were watching our friend Kit Lewis's cocktail demonstration yesterday, I've had a craving, and I will make myself one momentarily for a Hemingway daiquiri. So these have some lime cousins that are waiting for them. So before I cut this in half, I'm going to zest the rest because I want to add some to our third sauce, TBA. Yeah, because nothing's worse than if you go ahead and cut it in half and then you realize, I need the zest. You're like, no! And for those of you who don't have a microplane, this is a super versatile tool that we use a lot. I use it for grating on my cheeses. I use it for grating, kind of mincing ginger, for citrus zest. If you want kind of a fine texture, if you wanted to even grate peanuts or walnuts or things onto dishes, that's really good too.
Okay. We have a question.
Yes.
When should you splurge on Meyer lemons?
When they're in season. They usually run, if you get lucky, you might see them around mid-late November. Typically they run from December anywhere till about March, if you get really lucky, April.
But what should you use them in? Like, obviously, it's kind of like, top shelf liquor. You don't want to do it in a mixed drink. Like, when do you use the Meyer lemons?
If that's what you want. You just kind of have to know what you're using and why. I mean, Meyer lemons, I don't think they were even discovered till like 1980. But they're a lot sweeter than your typical, I think these are called Eureka lemons. So the acidity is a little less prominent, but they've got a great floral quality, almost kind of like lemon and orange hybrid. So yeah, I mean,
a little bit of this going on.
I would use Meyer lemons any instance where I'm trying to show something off.
This smells good too.
Yeah. So just get kind of down into the sauce. We can just kind of see we have just a light little gentle lazy bubble going on there. And
I always think of Meyer lemons also with pastry for some reason.
Yeah,
like, baking and stuff.
Because they're not as sharp. They lend themselves to. They're not as jarring when you bite into them, kind of like you would. You don't need as much sugar to cover them up. Like, say you're making lemon bars, right?
Right.
Or lemon curd. You kind of need a good amount of sugar to balance that out. So I'm going to get started with a little olive oil. I wanted to let it go in first, and then just kind of pulse it.
If you guys have any questions, just post them on the feed, and we're here. We're captive.
That's right. As we all are. And then let it go. It'll kind of tell you how much that it wants to take on. And we can always add more. It's kind of harder to take out.
Right. We'll have the recipe for this up on the Facebook after this.
Yeah, I mean, so again with this salsa verde, like I said, any kind of grilled, roasted meats, I would put this on. If you wanted to do something, I've seen a lot of good-looking like Misfit Market boxes around springtime. Roasted carrots would be really excellent with. Eggplant would be delicious. Cauliflower would be really good. Especially if those of you who are more inclined to deep fry at home, we're not, but if you were to and you wanted to have the deliciousness of fried cauliflower, just cut the florets off and drop them in straight to your oil. No batter, no flour, no nothing. Deliciousness. And so you could make this as loose or as tight as you want it. This is about good for me because I like that saucy kind of quality.
What's the difference between loose and tight?
I would say if it's tight, you're going to see a lot more presence of the herbs. It's not going to flow off your spoon. It's more going to kind of fall in pieces. So let's give it a taste. This does not sound arrogant. I don't think that needs anything. That's one we're going to taste. We're going to see is the acidity right?
Okay.
Is the salt level right?
I have a question. Do you put this sauce on the chicken while it cooks or after it's done?
Great question. I would put it on after it's done. I kind of like just the purity of a good roast chicken. I don't like to have to. I don't like to add a lot of things to it. I mean, like I said, for what's in there, that is, if we're not counting salt and pepper, that is literally 5 ingredients in that skillet. So I kind of like it as a finishing sauce. Especially since it has more of the soft herbs in it, the parsley, the basil. That's not something I would really like to cook with.
Another question. I thought that using solely olive oil would make it too bitter.
This is not the instance where you want to break out your great stuff. So, if you wanted to use a blend, that would be good too. In fact, that actually is kind of been doing, seeing what we're going to make, and as that bottle has been lowering, like, all right, do I need good olive oil this week, or do I need more of a blend? So, if you wanted to use 50-50 olive or canola, you could do that.
It depends on what you have.
Yeah.
But don't use the good stuff.
Not for that, no. I'd want the good stuff to kind of be something that we show off or we finish, that, you want to get the nuances, the fruitiness of, the really good kinds of olive oil, or, if it has more herbaceous notes or anything like that. I'm going to wash this up because we're going to use this again.
Oh my.
For sauce number 3.
So you got some more chef action, washing dishes.
That's right. Yeah, if anybody, this is kind of all we're doing.
Oh my gosh, dishwasher every day.
Dishwash and you don't stop.
There's only 2 of us. Can you imagine if we had a family? I mean, like, we had kids running around?
No, I would hate to imagine that. That sounds terrible. Unless you have it and it makes your homes lovely and full of joy. In which case, you do you. It's not for us, though.
Yeah. But yes, our dishwasher is getting is overworked for sure.
It is. That's one of those that you really feel for anybody who has to deal with the maintenance of home repair for anything. It's not a lot of fun, especially in these times.
Mm-hmm. And we're back. Almost back.
Gotta get the top.
Okay.
Yeah, Wendy, you got any other questions, or anybody else we need to give a shout out to that's watching out there?
Yeah, we got Deborah Stacy.
Deborah.
She's the one that asked about the Meyer lemons.
Oh, great.
And Polly Patrick.
Polly.
And Kate Mullins.
Hey, Katie.
Lisa Mullins.
Lisa, hello, Lisa.
And so it's got tons of people, and of course your parents.
All right. Greetings to Ecuador.
Yeah, we're hoping that Don and Cindy can come visit us in mid-June.
Yes.
Fingers crossed, so everybody stay home so they can come visit.
That's right. If we're putting up the I stay home for, it's like I stay home for them. So the third one, the final one, so just one last note on salsa verde. Save these deli containers. Right, Wendy?
Yeah, they multiply, but yes, we've been using them quite a bit lately.
They do. If you are in my profession, they grow, they multiply. Yes. Many of us eat and drink out of them.
Yep.
This is the real chef's beverage. You'll see this full of ice water or something floating around.
That's right.
In the kitchen. But anyway, so back to the task at hand here. I'm going to give our sauce a stir.
It's starting to bubble.
Bubble.
Smells
but
really
still,
good.
it's still at a good simmer. It's not It's not at a rocking boil or anything. I gotta give credit to my buddy Andy Gonzalez for this. I think probably almost 15 years ago, I was cooking something and I was doing it wrong, and I think I was making collard greens and I had him at just an insane boil, and he walks by me and he goes, "This is not Macbeth. There are no boiling cauldrons."
I don't know. That one looks like it's bubbling a little.
Bubbling, not boiling.
Okay. Very
So,
cool.
Anyway, we'll give that a stir. And so for our third one, we're gonna make an aioli. This is great to kind of pull stuff from the pantry when you realize, oh shit, I'm out of mayonnaise. Like, we can make our own. So we're gonna start off with some egg yolks.
That's totally going OG. Make your own mayonnaise.
That's right. We're gonna use the other half of the lemon that we had earlier. Let's say we wanted to make this a kind of a lemony mayo. This part is totally optional. This would taste very forward of lemon if we were to add the zest. That's going to work for what we're having for dinner tonight, but if you wanted something that's actually going to taste like real mayonnaise, you would leave that out. We're going to add the other half of our clove of garlic. Now, if you wanted to, let me grab our whole head over here. This is
head of garlic.
This is the last of our garlic, so I didn't want to sacrifice it for this cause. But if this is something, if you eat a lot of garlic, if you kind of like something with a deeper, more roasted flavor, you could cut kind of just the very top part off and expose all the little network of cloves down below. Rub a little oil, tiny pinch of salt, wrap it up in aluminum foil, and roast it in the oven. And the garlic will soften and turn sweet, and it'll add a great background and a lot milder garlic flavor to the aioli if you wanted to do it that way.
Or you could just spread it on bread, right?
Yes, spreading it on toast is delicious.
Yum, yum, yum.
So I'm going to add just a pinch, or a tiny amount of Dijon mustard. If you wanted to add a lot more, you could maybe add it towards the end and have something kind of like a Dijonaise. Just a great sandwich condiment, great on a burger.
Yeah. Deborah Stacy says that her neighbors and she and her neighbors are doing a nightly potluck group. Lots of containers going back and forth.
That's right.
Keep those gloves on, though.
Yes, exactly. And so another little secret, if I'm trying to expand the volume of this, because we're making an emulsion, we want two unlike things to kind of come together as one. I would add about a tablespoon or two of just warm water.
Why warm water versus cold water?
Helps loosen everything up.
Okay.
So now, we start. Let it go for a little while. We're going to look to break up the garlic. Kind of whip some air into this as well.
What's your favorite flavor of aioli?
Let's see. I like both raw and roasted garlic. I like mustard. I like lemon. I like it with, if you want to put kind of a pick an herb, any herb afterwards. So I've had some with cilantro that are great. I've had them with scallions. There's some people who are, hate on mayonnaise. I'm on team mayonnaise for sure. Saffron is another wonderful flavor. And so this is a very neutral oil. This is not the olive oil. This is canola. If you wanted to use vegetable or grapeseed or any very light oil that you had floating around, that would be a better option to use than
olive.
The extra virgin.
Very cool. Deborah has confirmed that they ring and run, so there's no contact.
Oh, good.
That's kind of funny. I really love that.
I know. It's like, if you were to say that a year ago, it'd be like, wow, it's a
little psycho.
Yeah, and now it's like, no, that's what we do now.
That's right. That's amazing. I hear we're never going to shake hands ever again. I'm okay with that.
And so from here, you don't want to break the emulsion, so we're going a little at a time. It's going to kind of tell you how much it's going to want to take on or not.
How does it tell you that?
It talks to me. It says, hey, I've had enough. Stop it. If you want it the thicker you want it, the more oil you can add. If you want it a little more kind of loose, you can go with less.
So really, more oil makes it thicker?
Yes.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. So let's just take a look here.
Ooh, all right. What we got going on here?
Give us a stir here. It looks like mayonnaise to me.
Yeah. Definitely creamy.
Yeah. So one more time.
Another deli container.
That's right.
All right. What does that need?
It needs a little more salt. And that's kind of about it. Put some of it in there. Salt is one of those flavor enhanced, like it makes things taste more like itself. So that was perfect. That was right on. So the lemon is pretty faint. It's more in the background and giving it depth as a sauce and not cracking you over the head with lemon.
Really great places around Atlanta that do flavored sauces for French fry dipping include Muss and Turner's and Leon's in Decatur.
Yes.
Delicious, delicious. Oh, Krista Miller says she just got an air fryer, so definitely making this for some fries.
Awesome. You have to let me know how you like it. I've heard mixed things. Actually, what I've heard is just about anything other than fried foods. I've heard of people heating or kind of rewarming pizza in it. I've heard of people cooking steaks in it to great success. So I would be curious to see how it works for you, Krista.
Yeah, the air fryer is the new Instapot. Lots of people blogging about it.
Yeah, I don't think we have room for another.
No, we have a tiny little kitchen.
That's all right.
We made the best of it, though.
We certainly have. So anyway, so aioli is there, and so our marinara.
Where's the first one? So we got aioli, salsa verde.
Salsa verde, and then check it out. Our marinara kind of has the tomatoes, whatever the chunks were left, have now started to break down even further. Mm-hmm. And now is going to be the time when I'm going to add the fresh basil. Yep. I'm going to turn the heat off too. And I'm not running a knife through it. If you wanted to chop it, you could. I kind of like the rustic nature of just leaving.
Because when you tear it, it releases a lot of the flavor, right?
Yeah, you want to bruise it a little bit, but not to where bruising in the sense of releasing the oils and the flavors, not in the sense of turning it brown.
Lisa Charlton says she loves her air fryer and uses it for wings.
That sounds good. So yeah, so that's kind of it. I just tasted it. The garlic flavor, it was gently toasted. That's kind of permeating throughout. We're going to chill that down because I think we're going to try our hand possibly this weekend at some pizza.
Woo.
So for one of these days, either tomorrow or Saturday, we'll be making some pizza dough. Let that rise overnight, and then we'll see how that works out. But
question.
Yes.
Suzanne wants to know, speaking of Instapot, can you show us one of your favorite recipes for that one day?
I will. I will. Hit me up with, if you want to shoot me a private message or something, I'll give you links to everything that I've written for Southern Kitchen that was Instapot.
It doesn't make for good TV.
No, it doesn't. It's not. All right, you put everything in, you put the lid on, and then now we wait. And so it's wonderful. I will share as much of that as I have with you. Just doesn't make for like, trust me, it's gonna work. It's gonna work. So that's we have any more questions?
Any more questions? Last call.
I'll be on later tonight.
Okay.
But thank you guys. So that's, just that easy. And the duration of what we did, what was that, 30 minutes? We just made 3 sauces.
That's right.
For later on. So all pantry stuff, pretty easy. Hope you guys try this at home. Use it for whatever you decide to cook later on. Please gear up for the weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Stay safe. Stay indoors. Wash your hands. See you tomorrow.